The NBA playoffs are a beautiful time in which players begin to blossom like flowers in the spring, and stars begin to shine at their brightest like a night sky with no light pollution. This creates an atmosphere of wonder and excitement that is unparalleled by any other part of the NBA season. And that is not only among the fans, not only among the media, but the players feel it too. It extends to them as well. And with that energy, the best of the best find a way to elevate their game. And with that comes moments where stars are born and major surprises create everlasting memories. We are not yet through the first round of the 2025 NBA postseason, but we've already seen plenty of these moments. So let's break it down. Welcome back to State of the Association. I'm your host, Nash Roberts. To begin, let's talk about a star that has been born in Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons. Now, Detroit was a franchise that was once prestigious. From the Isaiah Thomas era to the Ben Wallace era, the Pistons had established themselves as an organization with one of the better legacies in the NBA, but in the past 20 years, much of that has been forgotten. Instead of a franchise with an intense, gritty defensive culture, it became a franchise that seemed to routinely underwhelm and disappoint. There were some moments here and there. Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin both had really solid seasons there. Blake Griffin perhaps the best season of his career. But they were always fleeting and struggled to last for a long time. But over the last couple of years, Detroit has been building something big. And no matter where it goes from here, this is a team that has given Piston fans and NBA fans alike the most excitement that they have seen in a long time. And the foundational piece of what they are building, on which everything is built upon, is Cade Cunningham. With the number one overall pick of the 2021 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons would select Cade Cunningham in a move that would forever alter the trajectory of their franchise. Incredibly gifted with amazing physical tools and a knack for playmaking, he drew comparisons to Luka Doncic, Grant Hill, and Ben Simmons with a better jumper. And from day one, Cade Cunningham solidified himself coming out of the gate as a foundational piece for Detroit and perhaps the right answer at that number one pick. He finished third in Rookie of the Year voting, and every year his production would steadily improve. This past season, he made his first All-Star game, an honor that had not been received by a Detroit Pistons since Blake Griffin in 2019. And coming to the playoffs, this was a moment that was going to solidify Cade as a star or someone with still some work to do. Because in the regular season, a good player can shine, but great players must be able to maintain a steady rate of play in the biggest moments come the postseason. And to this point, Cade Cunningham has delivered. They have had a very competitive series against the New York Knicks, and that is in large part thanks to Cade Cunningham. Not only is he a very gifted scorer for himself, but he is incredible at playmaking for others, and has been the primary offensive hub for the Detroit Pistons. Currently, they are down 3-2 to the New York Knicks, but Detroit has brought a lot of intrigue to the series, win or lose. And with everything that they are building over there, from Cade Cunningham truly ascending to star status, to Jaden Ivey truly figuring things out and finally getting himself a spot in the rotation before going down with injury, to the potential of Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson, Detroit is building something big, and this is far from the last time that you will see them in the postseason under the Cade Cunningham era. A star has truly been made for the Detroit Pistons in Cade Cunningham, and in the same way that a star lights up a night sky, Cade Cunningham lights up the future for the Detroit Pistons. Moving on to the first round opponent of the Detroit Pistons, befitting of the bright lights of New York in the city that never sleeps, the NBA world experienced a seismic shift this past offseason when the Knicks acquired Karl-Anthony Towns, a player who it seemed, especially with the success that the Wolves had had the prior year, could be a Minnesota lifer, and sent out Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. After the initial shock had worn off and the haziness of trying to understand what just happened had passed away, there began to be some potential intentions on both sides for this move. For Minnesota, they felt that Dante DiVincenzo was a player who really fit their identity, and that Julius Randle could offer alongside Nas Reed most of what Cat could offer, but on a lesser deal financially. For the Knicks, however, they felt as though they were getting a clear upgrade in regards to their big men, and especially with the absence of Mitchell Robinson to start off the year, Towns seemed to be a major move for them. Now, Cat has continually been a very good regular season player when he's healthy, but the biggest issue with him in really determining his sustainability as a key piece of a franchise has been his playoff success, or lack thereof. Now, the counting stats for him are typically pretty solid in the postseason, even if perhaps a little bit down from what he does in the regular season. But the biggest factors were his defensive impact and a dip in his efficiency. However, what Minnesota had exhibited the prior year when they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals was that when you put a good defensive team around Cat, then you can hide some of his liabilities. A player like Rudy Gobert can help rim protect to an incredible extent. And you pair that with elite perimeter defenders, the likes of Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. If you had a good defensive team and a great, intense defensive identity around Cat, then he was not as much of a liability. And what they had also showed was that when Cat was asked to be more so a secondary option to Anthony Edwards in the postseason, then his efficiencies, or lack thereof, became less a glaring flaw and more so something that you could manage. In New York, they saw that. And this year, Karl-Anthony Towns is having perhaps his best postseason run that he has ever had. His field goal percentage is at 50%, which is the highest ever. And he has been a really good fit, seemingly, for the Knicks. And for a player routinely perceived as a playoff dropper, Karl-Anthony Towns has mitigated a lot of that and been a valuable piece for the Knicks. Then for the Timberwolves, it's a similar story. Julius Randle was also a very notable playoff dropper, perhaps to an even greater extent than Karl-Anthony Towns. Efficiency down, production down, overall impact down. But both Randle and Minnesota as a whole have come out of this NBA postseason looking incredible. Currently, they have the Lakers down 3-1. Anthony Edwards has perhaps ascended to a superstar level talent. Jaden McDaniels is really showing all that he can do for you on offense when he is truly dialed in. And Julius Randle is playing within the flow of the offense for perhaps the best stretch of his career. He has been efficient, he has been productive, and he's making a lot of smart plays. Now, given the parity of the West, the Timberwolves may have been a better team than the 6th seed might suggest. But to have a team led by Luka Doncic and LeBron James down 3-1, and more than likely you are absolutely advancing to at least the second round, and you're going to be a tough out no matter what, that's incredible for Minnesota. And this trade was questioned at the time on both ends, but it has come out on the other side looking really good, like a win-win for both teams. And you can still nitpick at individual value if Karl-Anthony Towns is significantly better than Julius Randle, and if Minnesota should have just kept him. But overall, both sides have come out of the trade looking rejuvenated, and the individual players of Randle and Cat have really reignited that spark in them come postseason time, and not been scared off by the bright lights, but instead motivated by them. Next up, the Clippers have entirely changed the status quo in Los Angeles. Sick and tired of, no matter what they do, being the little brother to the prestigious Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers decided to embark on their individual journey and try to set themselves apart with an individual identity and true self-actualization. They got a new arena, the Intuit Dome, envisioned by an owner who truly seems to love the game of basketball. And they got new jerseys, they got a new logo. They entirely changed the shape and the face of the Los Angeles Clippers franchise. They moved on from a lost era of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard that was marred by injuries and coming up just short in the playoffs, despite the incredible talent that those two had had. They were not ready to be the little brother anymore. Instead, they want to establish themselves as something greater. Currently, they're down 3-2 to the Denver Nuggets, but this is a series that has been very, very exciting and incredibly close between these two sides. Many of these games have come down to the wire and really been determined by what a team can do for you in the fourth quarter, how they elevate their game in the biggest moments. And for the Clippers, a major part of that has been a healthy Kawhi Leonard. This is a player who is much like the Clippers in the sense of being overshadowed by that which is not him. For the Clippers, it came as a result of playing alongside the LA Lakers in the same city, but for Kawhi Leonard, it came as a result of his lack of availability in recent years. Everybody knew that he was an incredible player, an offensive hub as well as an incredible defensive player, but we never truly saw a sustained run from him in recent years. And as incredible as his first Finals MVP with the Spurs was, or leading the Toronto Raptors to a title, the association is a what have you done for me lately league, and with that, it moves very quickly, and you have to be able to adapt and still prove your value each and every season, or else you get left behind. But when you're in the NBA, every player is exuberantly confident in their ability, because everybody is talented, but the best of the best believe that they can do whatever they desire and perform at the highest level. And for Kawhi Leonard, he knew the talent that he was, and not wanting to be brought down by questions of his availability, not wanting to be brought down by question marks about his recent history. Kawhi Leonard has been a man on a mission in this series. Over 20 points a game every night, including a 39-piece, over 35 minutes a game every night. Kawhi Leonard has really upped the ante and made this series truly interesting, because Denver is well and truly a juggernaut. But when you have the Claw coming after you, no matter how far you want to go, there are going to be some scratches on your way to the other side. Kawhi Leonard is back. The LA Clippers look as intriguing and promising as they have in years. And they've got a new identity with them. They are not the little brother anymore. They are their own individual. And overall, the recent era of LA Clippers basketball has been one that has had its ups and downs. But now, they're getting closer and closer to a point of self-actualization and truly setting themselves apart. Being their own team, and this postseason series has been integral to that. Kawhi Leonard is back, and no matter how this series goes, the Clippers have made it very, very competitive. Lastly, when you talk about a playoff atmosphere where the best of the best show up and show out, there is perhaps no better example than the Oklahoma City Thunder. In a first-round series, they would sweep Memphis, and the manner in which they did it was truly impressive, because you had both ends of the spectrum here. You had one in which they won by about 50, a truly dominant showing. But when you have such a showing, it is very, very impressive. But then it begs the question, when push comes to shove, does this team have what it takes to fight through adversity when so often they are not faced with that adversity? And in Game 3, they were down by 29 points at one point. But they came back, and they won. And would go on to beat Memphis in 4. This team was able to get it done no matter the circumstances. At home, on the road, maintain and build upon a major lead, as well as come back from a mountainous deficit. Looking at this team, it has been well publicized that they are very, very young. But they are not simply coasting by on youthful energy. This is a very complete and well-rounded team. At the top, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, perhaps the MVP of the entire NBA, and one of the best scorers that we have seen in recent memory. 30 points a game over his last 3 seasons. And truthfully, for SGA, his efficiency has not been as high as it has been in the regular season. However, he is not a one-note player in any regard. If he's not having an incredible night and scoring the ball efficiently, he is very talented at getting to the line and accumulating some points that way, as well as the fact that he is an incredible defender, especially for a star guard. Because typically offensive players, they can take a little bit of a break on the defensive end. Because oftentimes, in terms of the coach's game plan, the coach's scheme, their offensive capabilities, they are perceived as more integral to the team's success than whatever they might offer you on defense. And as a result, such a focus is put on their offensive orientation. But SGA, he gets it done on both ends. And so even if he's not scoring it for you efficiently like he has done in the regular season, I'm sure he'll turn it around. He is adept at getting to the line and still scoring no matter what, as well as being a very good perimeter defender. And surrounding him, you've got the likes of Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and Lou Dort. Now, players are often at their best when they are motivated by a chip on their shoulder. And for this surrounding core of the Thunder, that's precisely what they have. For Chet Holmgren, this is a player who, due to their similar skill sets, is often compared to Wemby, and that is considered a player rivalry. And that's great for Chet to be in those conversations with someone who is seen as a generational talent. But that also means that everything Holmgren does is going to be put under a microscope, under a magnifying glass, with criticism at every turn if he does not do everything right. So for Chet Holmgren, there is a distinct desire to put us all out there on the court, not only because it helps the team, but to be one with the media, you have to beat the media and prove your value each and every time. For Jalen Williams, this is a player who is widely regarded as very, very talented and an incredible player for the Thunder, especially among hardcore fans. But to a casual audience, he might play second or third fiddle to the likes of SGA or Chet Holmgren. So J-Dub, he wants to define himself as well, and not just be the third star for the Thunder, but be a star in his own right. Yes, he's going to play within the flow of the offense, but to make a statement in doing so. Then you have the defensive tone setter for this team in Lu Dort. This is a player who went undrafted, but the Thunder gave him a chance, and he has been there for the Russell Westbrook era. He has been there for the Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder era, and now he is here standing on top of the world, on top of the Western Conference. Lu Dort is a true veteran presence for the Thunder, and with that, he wants to lead this team to success. He is truly Mr. Thunder in regards to active players for his longevity with the team. And with that, there is a chip on his shoulder for a guy who has been through it all, through Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Chris Paul, to find a team with as much success as the Thunder have had these past couple years, and to finally win the big one with them. There's a chip on Lu Dort's shoulder, and every year it has been growing bigger and bigger, and now he is ready to do everything that he can for this team to lead them to a championship. And not only is he ready, the fans are ready too. That is part of what makes OKC such an incredible atmosphere. They are called a loud city for a reason. These fans show up and they show out. Each and every time they are passionate about the game of basketball. And especially their Oklahoma City Thunder. They are ride or die for their players. And they have been there throughout many iterations of this team, through Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, to sticking with Russell Westbrook after the betrayal of Kevin Durant, to an incredibly underrated three-guard lineup of Chris Paul, SGA, and Dennis Schroeder, to now. They've been through it all, and they won a championship to come back home to Loud City. And when you have an atmosphere like that, not only for the Thunder, but for these breakout stars and these major surprises, you have an incredible atmosphere, and it makes it so much better and so much more lively when the NBA postseason comes around. With so many competitive series already, it's already shaping up to be an incredible 2025 NBA postseason. What a time it is to be an NBA fan. That is all for today's episode of State of the Association. I'm your host, Nash Roberts. Thank you very much for listening.